Welcome to the Youth Forum hosted by Black Women for Positive Change, Pittsburg. This event is focusing on addressing and preventing community violence with a focus on youth. But we've invited millennials, boomers, Generation Z to join us because we feel it's such an important topic for this year. 2020 marks our 9th annual Week of Nonviolence, Justice, and Opportunities. And Black Women for Positive Change launched this effort some 9 years ago to promote violence prevention, improve relations between law enforcement and communities of color, and to strengthen youth leadership, and lastly, to build stronger multicultural and interfaith networks. So we're pleased to have you join us this afternoon. We hope you will find the session informative and useful. And before we begin, we would like to acknowledge a proclamation that we received from Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania in recognition of our Week of Nonviolence. And I'll read it to you. It's brief, but it says, "Greetings. Ensuring the health and safety of our citizens is the first duty of government. Therefore, this goal cannot be achieved by law and policy alone. Through the valiant efforts of the Black Women for Positive Change organization, we are able to advocate for bipartisan, evidence-based violence prevention strategies for businesses, schools, under-resourced communities, and more. This week plays an important role in educating citizens on resolving conflict, managing anger, and controlling bias without physical force. Engaging citizens across the Commonwealth with violence prevention activities and connecting them with experts in the field of law, federal legislation, nursing, fatherhood development, and so much more allows Pennsylvania to be a more connected and safer place. I am confident this week will have a positive impact on the Commonwealth for many years to come. As governor and on behalf of all the citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I am pleased to support October as the Global Week of Nonviolence. Please accept my best wishes for continued success. Governor Tom Wolf." We thank the governor, and with that, we'll begin our program. With that, I'll turn our program over to Caitlin Shearer, who will introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Vincent Robinson. Caitlin?
Hello, everyone. Vincent Robinson is a family friend and also an activist for nonviolence. Several years ago, he had a personal calling where he took it upon himself to travel all the way from his home state in Georgia up to the city of Chicago, where he met a lot of interesting folks and spread his word on nonviolence. I will go ahead and pass it over to you, Vincent, so you can tell us your story.
One moment. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello and good evening. Well, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good afternoon. Like Caitlin said, my name is Vincent Robinson, and I'm just going to tell you a small story about myself. My name is Vincent Robinson. Like she said, I was born and raised in the worst housing projects here in Atlanta, Georgia. It was known as Bankhead Courts at that time. And at a very young age, I was surrounded by so much negativity where drugs was involved, guns, gangs, prostitutes, all type of hustlers. And I remember vividly seeing this coming out of my, outside of my apartment at 7 and 8 years old, seeing this is all I saw. We had no one to look up to that was on a positive level. We didn't have your NBA players or your NFL players to look up to at the time. The projects was exactly what they were, projects. Everything you needed, everything you wanted was in those projects, whether you needed the library or your grocery store, your schools, everything was there in the project, so you didn't have a reason to leave. And what I saw is what I knew I wanted to mimic at a very early age. I saw the local drug dealers and the local hustlers making money and driving nice cars, fancy cars, and just making a lot of money. And that was very impressive to me. I was very impressed by that. And again, at 6, 7, 8 years old, the local drug dealers would give me money to do a store run for them, or do some trick on my bike. And I remember thinking to myself at that time that when I become an older guy or older man, I want to make a younger man like myself feel the way I feel at this moment. I remember thinking that, and I remember thinking the only way I could do that is pass this young man or this young lady some money the way that these younger drug dealers pass me money. So again, I remember thinking I couldn't wait to become an adult so I could make the money that these guys are making and these young ladies are making. It was nothing for me to come out of my apartment building at 6 and 7 years old to see a fight to break out at any minute, or someone stabbed or someone shot. We could be playing basketball on the field, and we can hear a gunshot, and someone will come around and say, someone just got shot, and we would actually run to the gunshot or run to the area where the crime was committed versus running away from it or staying away from it. And that was our norm. That was our norm. We would see or hear violence and we would run to it. And again, it was nothing for me to see someone die in front of me. And so I wasn't afraid. I was never afraid, but all at the same time, couldn't wait to get to that point of being an adult to get involved in the street. So basically I use this when I speak, I say I became a product of my environment. Fast forward, at 16 years old, I was shot at a football game. And now this was the first time I was shot. An argument broke out. It was people who was from another neighborhood or from some other projects that was in the in our area, and I got into an argument and fight with these guys, and ultimately I was shot in the hip. I had to have a rod from my hip down to my kneecap. I stayed in the hospital maybe 3 weeks at that time. And when I was in the hospital, I remember thinking to myself, and this is at 16 years old, I remember thinking to myself, how can I prevent this? I was already selling drugs. I had started selling drugs at the age of 12. I bought my first Cadillac at the age of 13. But at 16 years old, now I'm in the hospital and I'm shot and I have to have rehab. Laying in that hospital, I'm thinking to myself, how can I become a better drug dealer? How can I become a better criminal? How could I become good at doing what I was doing, which was negative in the streets at that time? Instead of thinking, how can I get out of these streets? How can I get away from this drug game or these gang activities or being around negative people? I was thinking, how can I get out of being in a position where I could be shot or harmed in any way? And that's sad to say, but that was the truth. That is my truth. Fast forward, I got rehabbed, and for some reason or another, my leg healed, and I was much better than I was before, I thought. And I would run from the police. I would, just do all type of negative things. And I turned 20 years old. I'm fast forwarding to 20 years old. I got a call from my mom. At this time, I'm not living in Bankhead now, but Bankhead is so deep rooted into me. I felt like I had to go out to the projects every day. So I'm not living there. But this particular time, my mother called me and she asked me not to come out to Bankhead Courts. And I laughed, and not disrespecting her, but I laughed and I'm like, why, Mom, why don't you want me to come to Bankhead? She said, you know, I had this dream that you were in front of my apartment building and these guys, they had you in a circle and these guys were stabbing you and they were shooting you and you was in this circle and they was just watching you. And I laughed again, not disrespecting her, but I was like, Mom, I have nothing but friends. And she said, please promise me you won't come out here to Bankhead. I made her a promise that I won't come out. And 2 days later, after I made my mom that promise, I went out to Bankhead Courts. I saw a friend of mine. I got out and I hugged her. I'm making this story short. I'm sorry. I'm making it really short because my time is limited. But I got out and I hugged her. And she asked me, will I take her home? And I told her, yes, I will take her home. And I said, let me go around to my mother's house, talk to my sister and my mother, and then I'll come back out and I'll take you home. Got back in my car, drove around the corner, pulled in front of my mother's door. As I got out the vehicle, I saw a car that was parked beside me. I knew these guys that were sitting, it was 4 guys sitting in that car. I knew these guys who were sitting in that car. And I spoke to them and got out the car, proceeded to walk towards my mother's house. I heard a door slam. And when I looked back, that was this guy standing in front of me. Like he could literally touch me. That's how close he was to me. And when I looked down, he had this loaded shotgun. It was called a street sweeper. And you can Google that, Google street sweeper, and it'll give you everything you need to know about this thing called street sweeper, this gun, this cartoonish looking gun. But he had it pointed at my midsection in my groin area. He didn't say a word. He didn't say anything. I'm looking at him in his eyes and he's looking at me. And all of a sudden I heard a blast, boom. I fell to the ground. At that time, I did not know I was shot. I just thought I was knocked down by the pressure of the gun or, you know, he pushed me. I didn't know. Then all of a sudden, this guy walked up on me again while I was laying on the ground and actually stuck the gun in that same area in my midsection. And he just looked at me. And I said to him, man, what are you doing? And he only said 2 words from that day to this day. He said, no, man. And he pulled the trigger again. That was November 6, 1992. I woke up in January of 1993. I woke up from a coma and my legs was already amputated. I was already healing at that moment. So fast forward, I was hit with this dream, and now I know it was from God, but this dream said you need to go to Chicago. And ironically, I took a trip to Chicago in my car, and it was my first time being in Chicago. I had never been there before in my life. And I went and I met some people and I did a speaking engagement there at a school called Camelot Academy. Didn't know anybody, didn't have an agenda or nothing. I met up with some police officers and they told me that I need to hook me up with a lot of different people, said that I need to go to this school and speak. I spoke, but on the drive back, home home from Chicago, I felt empty in the inside. I just felt like something wasn't accomplished. But I didn't think any more about it. And then a year later to the date that I had left and drove my car up to Chicago, God put it on my heart again and said, you need to go to Chicago. And I said, okay, I gotta go to Chicago. I guess I'll pack my car. And again, I don't know anyone in Chicago. Besides the people I met the first time, I don't know anyone. And I said, I'll pack my car and go up to Chicago. And God said, no, you're not gonna drive. You're gonna push your car. Push your wheelchair to Chicago. And I say this in every engagement I do because it's my truth and it is part of the journey, or part of the mission. I said no. And at that time, I didn't know that that was God speaking to me. I just thought that was a conversation I was having within myself. God said, you got to go to Chicago. And I said, no, I'm not going that way. People are going to think I'm crazy. And this is not going to look right. They're going to think I belong in some type of insane asylum or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm not going. And I couldn't sleep. For days. I couldn't sleep at all. Then eventually I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go to Chicago. And I began pushing. And once I began pushing, once I got up to North Georgia, I started from our state capital. Like Caitlin said, I started from our state capital here in Atlanta, Georgia. And once I got to North Georgia, people began to catch wave of what I was doing. Because at that time, I didn't even know what I was doing. I just knew I had to push because that's what the voice said, push to Chicago.
Questions.
Okay.
And I guess I want to ask you, were you physically pushing yourself in the wheelchair from one destination to another, and you were
Yes.
heeding a call of God?
Yes, I was pushing.
Okay. At what point in your life did you change from the coldness of being a drug dealer to deciding to heed the voice of a higher power?
This was actually 2004, because even after this incident, I didn't really listen to the warnings that I say it was warnings. And 2004 is just when it hit me. It said, man, you done had, 2 chances to survive. You don't need to go through a third time of, being hurt or, taking a chance of being hurt in the streets. So it was 2004 is when I let go of everything, drugs, everything.
Okay, we have some young people in the audience. I want to give them a chance to type some questions in the chat box to ask you some questions. But at the time, you entered drug life at a very young age. Where were your parents?
Well, my father was not at my home. He was a provider, but he had another family in another area. But my mother, she did everything in her power she could do to keep me out of the streets, up into including calling the police on me at times. She tried to, like I said, I had a car at 12 and 13 years old. She called the police and tried to have them to take my vehicle away from me. And she did everything she could to keep me out of the streets. But I was rebellious. In my mind at the time, I thought I was not being disrespectful because I wasn't using profanity or, talking back at her, but I would do the things that she didn't want me to do. I even moved in with a friend of mine at that time. Again, I was 13, 14 years old. And I moved in with a friend of mine who was 21 years old, so I could be in the streets and, not have anyone to challenge me. So yeah, my mother, she did everything she could do, but I was just very rebellious at the time.
So you would describe your home life as kind of comfortable, and you had a loving mother.
Yes, I did. Yes.
But what was it about? Was it your personality or the lure of the streets that made you so defiant?
it was like I said, when I was 6, 7 years old, it was like I knew I wanted to get out there in that fast lane and make that fast money. I knew this is what I wanted from 6, 7 years old. I just couldn't wait to become an adult because I wanted, and I felt like I needed that money. And what money brings women, and you're popular when you have money and you have these cars, and people look up to you. So I think I wanted that. I don't want to call it fame, but I think I wanted that attention, because I saw the local drug dealers get that attention from the people who was not doing the drugs, or all the women who was attracted to them.
Okay. Again, I want to appeal to the audience. If you have a question, please raise your hand and submit a question in the chat box. In the meantime, again, I'll continue with Mr. Robinson. We have a lot of young people in the audience. If there's one message that you would want to give to them, what would that be?
I would say, do everything in your power to walk along that positive path, because I like to compare, I like to put my life and everything I've done next to LeBron James. He's an NBA player. LeBron James was brought up the same way I was brought up. He went down that same road, down that same avenue, down that same path that I went down. When he come out of his apartment, he saw drug dealers, he saw the gang members, he saw everything that I saw. And we was on that straight path, but I veered off and I went on the negative path. LeBron said he was going to get his mom out of the projects. I said the same thing, but I took the negative path and I chose to sell drugs to try to get my mother out of the projects. What LeBron did was he kept himself in the boys club and kept himself doing what he needed to do to master his craft as playing basketball, to become a basketball player. And now he will be a billionaire once he retired. So me taking a negative path, and here I am, I'm telling young people, young adults, young children about my life, and trying to keep them on the positive path, to keep them from going down that road that I went down and losing my legs and almost losing my life twice, compared to a person who took that positive road and stayed on that positive journey. And
Right.
he's doing great. So just stay on that positive path is what I like to tell the younger generation, or people in general.
We have a comment from Ray Bridgewater in the audience, and his comments are, wow, this is a chilling testimony. You prove that if you can look up, you can get up.
Yes.
And
yes.
He congratulates you for sharing your weaknesses and discovering your strength.
Yes.
I'd like to segue on that last part. When did you discover your own strength and stop looking for it from the streets?
Again, it was, I have kids. It was 2004. And my kids was in my back. I had 3 kids at the time, and they were in the back seat of my car. And honestly, I had just made a drug deal. And I hate to say that, but it's my truth. In 2004, I just made a drug deal, and I was looking at my kids, and they were in the back seat. I was looking at them through my rearview mirror, and it's something hit me. Again, there was no police after me or no robbing crew or anything like that, but it was something hit me that said, you have your kids with you, you know, you're putting their life in danger. You need to change. And I look back at my kids and I asked them, do y'all know what dad does for a living? And they knew, but they were ashamed to say it. But my youngest son at the time, he was like 6, and he was like, I know you drop us off at the park, and when you come back, you have a lot of money in your hand. And I told my kids, I said, well, you don't have to worry about that no more. This is the last time that it's gonna happen. I would never do this again, but just know I'll do the very best I can to get y'all what y'all need and some of what you want, but it won't be the way it was. Just be patient with that. And I'm gonna do the very best I can to take care of y'all without doing this negativity. But again, it was something, and I know it was God that hit me and said that you need to change.
How old were you when you became a father?
I was 16 years old
16.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Another question from our audience. When you were 12, what would have changed your life?
What would have changed my life? I really believe that if my father, again, my father was not a bad person. I think he thought he was doing the right thing because he was a provider. He bought me everything I wanted. If I asked for money, he gave it to me, but he was never around. Like if I had a football game, because I played sports, my father was never there at the football game. He has never came to one of my football games. He has never came to my school. And I got in trouble a lot in elementary and in high school. I got in trouble a lot. And he never came up to the school. And I was afraid of my father. My father has never touched me, never put his hand on me, period, at all. But I was really afraid of my father, and I really wanted to impress him. So I believe if my father would have came up to my school or came to me and said, boy, you're going to graduate, you're going to do the right thing, or I will make this happen, or I would do this, I would have done the right thing. I strongly believe that, but he never did do that. And I believe my father would have really changed me had he been in my life and was strict in that area.
So having a strong male figure in your life, you think may have made a difference.
Yes.
How can other young people be saved from what you went through? Those that don't have a father in their life.
Basically, it could join a YMCA, join a boys club. They have these in all these boys clubs and recreation centers and all that. They have this thing called Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and they have people who are, teenagers who are close to their age that they could connect with. And I have again, my daughter, she joined this Big Brother, Big Sister program, and they basically followed her all through high school up into college. And they just give them good advice, stay on them about doing homework. They just, they're in their corner. So when they need someone to talk to, when they need someone to just give them advice, they stay in their corner and they follow them everywhere they go. So I think they should do something like that, or go talk to a school counselor and tell them their situation, tell them their problem if they feeling like they want to do something negative, or if they feel something in the inside is not right. Talk to a school counselor, and that counselor will give them guidance and show them, what avenue or what roads they should go down.
Okay. Okay. We're almost at the end of our segment. I really hate to leave, but we only have a few more minutes because your story has been so riveting and powerful. But I did want to ask, how could your father have been trained to be a better dad? By either the church or do you have a relationship with him today?
Well, it's unfortunate. My father passed away. He passed away months before this happened to me. And
wow.
Yeah, but my father, he was a street person as well. He had a job, but he was a street person as well. That's why I think I mimic my father's behavior. Everything my father did, I mimic. He has 4 kids. I have 4 kids. He drove Cadillacs. I drove Cadillacs. He loved the women. I loved the women at the time. I think I mimic my father's behavior. But had my father not went through what he went through, his parents died very young. And he was from Norcross, Georgia, and he moved down to Atlanta and got into that fast life. But had my father had his parents, or had someone that he could talk to, had someone that he could relate to, I think that would have made him a better person. But my father, he didn't have a win. Like I said, his parents died when he was 13, 14 years old. And the only thing he knew was to survive. And he came down to Atlanta and he did what he had to do to make money and keep himself afloat. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just would like you to make one final comment to the audience. For those who are struggling with um, the lure of the street and the fast money and the excitement, what would you say to them?
I would
Closing
say,
remark.
please, please do everything in your power. I say this in every, because I'm a speaker and I speak at high schools, elementary schools, middle schools, juvenile detention centers, and alternative schools. I say this at every speaking engagement. Do everything in your power to take a positive road, a positive step in life. Because again, the decisions you make today can affect your tomorrow, can affect everything about your tomorrow. So your decisions you make today, so please just try your best to decide to walk that positive road, to take that positive avenue. That because again, I want them to see me. I chose the negative road. I chose the negative path. And this is what happened to me. This is what happened to me. Can y'all see that? This is what happened to me. And I use my physical appearance, I use my experience, and also I use this book. I wrote a book, I'm an author as well. And it has everything in it that I went through, all my trials, all my tribulations, and basically it can prevent you from going through what you went through. Going through what you're going through. If you're experiencing negativity, basically, I probably went through that same thing. Everything is in that book, but I use my experience, my physical appearance, and my book to try to detour youth, young adults in general, from going down that negative path. So just do everything in your power to stay on a positive path. You know what's wrong, because I knew the whole time since I was 12 years old. I knew what I was doing was wrong. You know it,
Right.
in the inside. So follow that feeling in the inside, and if it don't feel good, it's not good. Take a positive road. Take a positive step, and do the positive thing.
I can't thank you enough for you sharing your story. I hope everyone got something out of what you told us and shared with us today. If people want to learn more about your life or get your book, how would they go about doing that?
It's everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble.
And what's the title?
It's called How the Streets Changed Me and Almost Took My Life.
Okay.
It's changed me and almost took my life.
Thank you for your powerful, powerful story. I hope we can bring you back for another session, but I greatly appreciate this.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys for having me. And thank you so much for everything.
You're welcome. All right. Wow. Our next presenter is Dr. Carmen White out of Washington, D.C. She is the president and CEO of Dramatics Solutions. And that's a very unique theater group. And they use theater and drama to kind of demonstrate issues that are occurring in family dynamics and communication, and how that may impact or create violence in the home or on the streets. So Dr. White is going to come on in just a minute and introduce her team, and then perform a brief sketch for you, and then we'll open it up for audience interaction. Please welcome Dr. Carmen White.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mrs. Powell, and also to Dr. Myers, and a special shout out to Mr. Ray Michael Bridgewater, a dear and past friend, and knowing some of the work that we've been doing in the District of Columbia for many, many years. I don't want to date myself, but thank you for making this wonderful connection, and I look forward to continuing the great work in some capacity with Black Women for Positive Change. We are humbled to be in the space. So let's start because time is of essence. We are Dramatic Solutions, and we're just giving you a very, very snippet, bird's eye view through a vignette of a play titled Behind Closed Doors. I am
I'll be your director.
You're going to be my director? All right. Thank you so much, Pal. You're going to give us a 3, 2, 1 action. And I'm going to ask that you listen closely to the words and the tone and identify some of the emotions that's taking place. It's on you, Mrs. Powell. Go ahead.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, action.
Whoa, no, no, whoa, no, 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 whoa, no, 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 whoa, no, no, no. I'm tired of seeing kids on t-shirts. Bullets get cleaned up, then we hurt. Bodies get lost, then we search. Parents get involved by preachers. Friends killing friends. Caesar. Land leads to bleeding tears cropping out budding seeds. The future perfect family cease to exist. When the baby's eyes bloodshot, tongue can't see a better life when it can't see.
Come on. One of y'all answer the phone. Junior. Answer the phone, Junior.
Hello?
Junior. Hey. Hey, this is
Oh. How you get my phone number? I blocked you.
Stop playing. Come on, stop playing, Junior.
I'm dead serious. How did you get my phone number? I blocked you. You always call me with drama. What's up?
The kids didn't come home today. I got a call from the school saying that they didn't go to school, and now it's 9 o'clock and neither one of them is home, and neither one will answer their phone. I've been calling them over and over.
Hey, look. Did you check with all their friends?
Every number I have, I called, okay? I even called the police, but they said they weren't missing long enough. So I don't know what to do. I don't know where they are.
All right, so what you want me to do?
What do you think? Be a father. Be concerned. Help me find them. I mean.
I'm concerned, but I mean, all that be a father, you wasn't talking all that all these years, and now all of a sudden it's be a father.
Hold on. I've never stopped you from being a father. I just didn't want you to have my kids around them hoes you run with. That was my problem.
Look, you knew what it was when we got together, right? You knew what it was.
No, what it was a lie. You said we were going to be a family. You said you were going to stay with us.
You knew what it was. Yeah.
You know what?
People change, things change,
situations
change.
You changed, all right. You know what? I don't even know why I called you. I don't even know why I called you. You know what? But never mind. Tracy's on the phone. Hold on.
Tracy.
Tracy.
Yo, what up?
Don't what up me. I will what upside your head. How about that? What? Where are you? And why didn't you go to school today? Since when do you not go to school?
Since when do you care about what I'm doing?
You know what? I don't know who you've been hanging with, but they about to get you messed up. All right? Look, I'm your mother. Don't play with me.
I can't really hear you right now. Can I call you back?
What is all that noise anyway? Where are you?
Why do you care? Why are you trying to be a mother all of a sudden?
Where are you?
I'm at a party.
You're at a party. You at a party, but you can't go to school?
You don't go to work.
Oh, you mind your business. I'm grown. You like a child. You got a roof over your head and you're not hungry. So that's what you worry about. You don't worry about when I go to work.
Why are you acting like this?
Why am I? Because look, get home.
Just last week, you didn't care about what I was doing, where I was at, who I was out with, and now you care all of a sudden. Now you want to be
always, girl, don't try me.
You know what?
Don't try me.
I'm not coming home tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. I think I'm gonna spend the night over at my friend's house.
You better not be talking about that little nasty boy either. He's too old for you.
So what if it is him? He is not too old for me. And you have all these men coming in and out of our house.
Once again, little girl, mind your business. Okay? Get home.
My business.
Get home. Hold on. This is your. Now your brother wants to call. Hold on, Tracy, don't hang up. Trey.
Hey, yo, Slim, why you calling my phone?
What?
Why you calling me?
Look, your sister is out there somewhere at some party. Can you please find her?
Yo, why is she out right now? What is she
I
supposed to
don't
be?
know. I don't know. Well, probably
What do you mean
she.
you don't know. You never. See, that's a problem. You never know. What do
She
you mean you
doesn't.
don't know?
She knows how to act. I don't have to usually run around and look for her. It's you I'm usually running behind. But I gave up on that last year. But can you find your sister?
Hold up. Are you telling me do something that you're supposed to be doing right now?
What do you mean?
You think you think Tracy is my responsibility? What do you do? What where no. How about this? Where are you right now?
You know what?
No. Where are you right now?
I'm home where you supposed to be.
You're home, man. Exactly. You could be looking out for Tracy, could be calling people you can, but no, you stuck home like always, doing nothing.
You know what? I got you doing nothing. Bring your little narrow tail home and find your sister, and I'm gonna show you nothing.
That's the reason why Dad left. You always bugging. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh no, your father left because he ain't nothing, and apparently you trying to be just like him. Goodbye.
Well,
Goodbye. Tracy. I gave up everything for these kids. That lying fool left me with these kids. I held it down here. Everything here I paid for. I take care of home. He runs off, and now they talk to me just because I got some friends now, just because I'm getting a life. I gave up everything for them. I'm gonna have a life now. And now they want to run around in the street and disrespect me, talking about what's up? I got their what's up. I'm a what's upside their head. If they walk in my house thinking they're gonna get something to eat, how about that? I provide. Yeah, you know what? You talking about my little friends. I might have a friend over right now. Get on my nerves. Shoot, I'm about to do me.
I done messed up. I done got with the wrong woman. Man. She called me up out of all these years, called me up, making it like it's my responsibility. I mean, she knew what it was. You know, she was 15, I was 16. We was having fun. You know, she got pregnant. She got caught. We got caught up. You know, I tried to do the right thing, you know, sticking around, you know, for my son. And then we had, you know, our daughter and everything. But she wanted that all or nothing deal. Like, I ain't signed up for that. I didn't sign up to be acting like I'm married at 16. Who does that? I mean, you know, I tried to be there for my kids. I would show up for birthdays and stuff like that, or call. And she was, oh, I don't need no man. You don't need you. Da da da. We good. We on our own. We good. And so you good. So I rolled out. I stayed out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now I'm being painted like I'm the bad deadbeat dad or something. You know, I mean, when we was together, it was like oil and water. It was war every night. And for a while, I kept my peace. I moved to another room. Here she come nagging in the next room. I move from there, go to the next room, nagging in there. I leave to go to my mother's. She tried to block the door. So one night, yeah, she blocked that door, all right? But I tell you what, she got choked out too. You know, I mean, I don't condone put my hands on women, but you know, she got me to that level, man. Like I was just like, you know, all I know is I'm happy where I'm at now with a new family and everything, and that they want to come and mess this up. I mean, what they want from a brother.
So tired of my mother. Last week, she didn't care about what I was doing. She wasn't in my business. She wasn't even acting like a mother. She was acting like a teenager. Now she wants to know about what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. Like, she cares about me skipping school, and she doesn't even go to work. And she got the house looking a mess. And she expects me to take care of everything, and I don't know what she wants from me. She doesn't make any sense.
I don't care about nobody but myself. No one has ever looked out for me or told me to look where I was going. Now I do everything on my own. Ever since my dad left, my mom worked day and night. For all that hand, she would never real mom to me. So I look to the streets, my boys. I would do anything for them. I will kill for them. I would die for them. Because you know what? They have my back. But my mom, she never gave me the time of the day. So for all I care, I don't even have a mom. I just live with someone who wastes every single day of their life. And my sister, I don't even know. I barely see her. I don't think she cares for me, but honestly, I don't blame her, because if I was her, I wouldn't care for me either. I'm almost every day. Some days I go to school, some days I don't. It doesn't really matter where I'm going, to be honest. And my dad, he's never been there. And I'll make sure he'll never, ever be here ever again. And I swear, if my dad ever tries to come back into my life, I swear on my life, he better think twice. He better not try me.
Kids better not try me.
All I know, everything is going good for me now. And then all of a sudden they want to show up and throw a monkey wrench in this. They're not going to mess this up for me. They're not going to mess this up for me. They better not try me either.
I am too grown before having all these people of my business, including my mother. She better not try me.
Didn't say RIP to the KIDs, but still can't believe when they fall asleep that they still can't dream, cause their friend just died last week on the beach. Ain't that a reach to say you wanna teach safety to kids but never help them cope with their PTSD, OCD, GAD, ADHD, so they smoke trees, they call it self-help, you call it a mistake.
My young people, if you can pop up a few of your cameras and open up, let us see your face. Let's give the actors and the people that we just met a hand. Let's give them a hand. Woo woo. You can open up your screens, open up your mics. Let's have a quick conversation, and then we're just going to have a few minutes, not a lot of time, to go into the breakout groups, but we want to really be able to engage in safe, courageous, and bold and brave conversations. I'm just curious, does anyone on the line have an immediate reaction or question or statement that they would like to share out to one of the characters that we just met? Anybody would like to say or something to one of the characters and or ask them a question?
Good evening, everybody. How are you? This is Overseer from Washington, D.C., Ann Coles. I have a group of young people here, and we just want to thank you for that skit, being the voice that they're not allowed to be, because that's real in a lot of the households here.
Thank you so much. Do you happen to have a question, or did anything just burn in your inner spirit that makes you want to reach out and speak to one of them? Here's your opportunity to do that now. Believe it or not, vicariously, our young people that are on are watching every move we're making.
Right now, I'm giving tissue out because some of them are really living just that.
Yeah.
So they really don't really want to speak, but I've made the church a safe place for them.
Wow.
But that skit really hit a nerve because that's everyday life for some of the young people that I work with.
Wow.
And now that the school is closed, it's really hitting them very hard. So again, I thank whoever wrote that. That's a voice for our young people.
Well, I'm going to use your tissue, and that's going to be our talking piece for today. So I'm just curious. I just have one person I just need to say something before we go into quick breakout rooms because of time. Tracy, out of everybody, I'm most concerned about you. Is it something about you that reminds me of you? I don't know what it is, but what do you realize how disrespectful you are to your mom?
You should hear what my mother says to me. I don't think I'm being disrespectful. I talk the way she talks to me.
Do I have any young people on the line that has a different opinion? Alana? Anybody? Anthony? Christina? Anybody want to say anything to anybody on the screen?
I do, because she talks about how I talk to her. I'm
Yes.
trying to keep her out of trouble.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep her from being like her brother. Every night, it's like I can't sleep wondering if my son is going to come home. And now she's starting to do the same thing. And I'm like, what's going to happen? I am responsible for these two kids. I'm the only person there for them. I can't protect them out there in the street. I wouldn't even know how. What am I supposed to do? So yes, I tell her, don't go anywhere.
So I'm just going to ask that you just Trina, because I have an instinct that we have a lot of mothers on the line. Is there one mother before we go into breakout groups that would like to say anything to Trina that is something that resonates with you, that you want to offer out a small suggestion for her to ponder upon?
Well, this is Dr. Myers, and I'm not a young person, but I thought it was an incredibly powerful skit. Trina, what can we do to train mothers and fathers like Junior to be better at parenting?
I do the best I can. I mean, it's like I never have any relief. You know, I don't know. I mean, if there's some way, I guess, if there's somebody else out there that could talk to my son, he's not going to listen to me. I mean, I'm the bad guy. So maybe if somebody else could talk to him, or maybe if somebody else could talk to my daughter, because it's like, I mean, even sometimes I feel like all I'm doing is yelling, and maybe I am, I don't know. This is just not the life I thought I was going to have. Do you want
to be better? Do you want to be better as a mom?
I do, but I feel like I just can't stop being angry. I feel like I can't stop being hurt about the fact that Junior left me with these kids, and here they are in my face asking me for stuff all the time. I don't know what to do all the time. I think
I didn't leave willingly. I mean, I'm saying I had my friends, you had your friends. You gave me an ultimatum of all or nothing. And I wasn't trying to be with you all like that.
Trina, what type of example do you think you're giving to your family? I mean, they're watching you. So when you look at Tracy, she's just looking at you, and you're the example. So what are you doing to change your life?
Everybody watching me. That's what I don't understand. I'm the one that's been here. I'm the one cooking. I'm the one buying their clothes. I'm the one wiping their nose. I'm the one taking off when they're sick. It's not him. Everybody's asking me what I'm doing.
You're the mother.
You're supposed to be our mom.
I am.
No. Here's the deal. You're not. Okay? You're not my mom. You're not Tracy's mom. I don't know whose mom you think you are.
All of the things that you said that you do.
She tried to be my mother. She tried to be my mom.
Don't talk ever again.
I'm just going to give a timeout. I'm just going to give a timeout because I've just been doing this work so long, and I wish I had the Mrs. Powell's experience of being able to say cut and stop, but we have to move on. We must move on. But I see you, Ellen. I see you, Anthony. Really quickly, share out, spit. What do you have to say?
I just wanted to ask the children, what do they expect from their mother?
Well, she says that she's always there for us and she's always taking care of us, but she stopped doing that a long time ago. So she's not even here. She's physically here, but she's not even here.
When you say take care, what does that mean?
She used to feed us. She used to get on us about our grades. She used to actually care about us. But then now she just cares about these men that she has in her house.
Wow, we want to hold on to that. Anthony, please, you're on fire. Say it, sir, so we can go to breakout groups.
Just from observing, it looks like the four of you guys are all hurting in some aspect. And what's always become apparent with dealing with situations like this is hurt people hurt people. So I believe until you guys deal with the hurt within, you guys won't be able to be any type of positive energy for the next person. The kids are hurting from both parents. Mom, you lost Trey when he became eye level to you, because as a man, the only thing he's going to understand is pain and consequence. And the example you're putting on for your daughter is far beyond, for lack of better words, is just jacked up. And Pops, you current likes to take the path of least resistance, and you did that by running out and bailing out. And I don't want to take too much time, but that's just what I see.
I know you on fire. We got to go. Tim tried to put his camera on. Maybe we can get you at the end on the backside, Tim. Please, we got to go to breakout groups. This is what I want everybody to ponder on. And I really, I just appreciate the feedback. This is a powerful, unique experience. And unfortunately, Dr. White is not savvy enough to sometimes put this into words. You have to experience the experience. And so thank you for taking a few minutes. Please, Ms. Cabrera, can you bring up the PowerPoint where the questions are? I'm also going to put into chat the questions for us to answer in our breakout sessions. And again, this is the backdrop. What you experience is going to help you really connect to embrace these questions and speak out on them in a very more authentic way. And so the first one is, did this dramatic scene remind you of anything? If so, please explain. The second, what signs of nonverbal, verbal, or physical violence did you observe in this scene? 3, what role does father play in family, and how does it affect the development of a child's mindset? And 4, what advice or resources might you recommend to the characters you just met? I encourage you to focus on 2 of those questions. You won't have time to really get and grapple with all 4, but if you identify 2, that'll be great. So welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for taking a moment.
You still have people in breakout rooms. They got 26 more seconds.
So much, Ms. Cabrera. I will be quiet.
No problem.
Thank you, Cabrera. This is great.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
so much.
You're welcome. Got a couple people still in breakout rooms. Room 1 is full. They ain't left. They're going to be evicted. Okay, now everybody's back.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for taking the time to just reflect in the various breakout sessions. Whether you shared or listened or had a chance to digest it, our hope is that in some aspect through your senses, you had a chance to digest on the experience. Our deepest hope also is that you are able to have a perspective that violence does start somewhere in a young child's life. And those that are clinicians would say the first 7 years are the most impactful when it comes to being exposed to trauma and or violence. And however we can make that shift happen in our household, in our family households, and our friends' households, we have the opportunity to do so. It's the small things that matter. Before we close out, does anybody want to share and harvest with us some things that they heard that were profound, that they just know they need to share out? Because we still have people still in the line listening.
Just one thing was in room 4. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, room 4. We had the question of addressing and preventing violence in our own community. What was pointed out was addressing block by block that violence is in the top 10, according to the CDC, as a disease. Violence is a disease. It's a public health problem, and it's killing people, just like cancer and diabetes and other types of other diseases. So we need to look at each house, bring in the faith-based, bring in the social workers, because it only takes one house in one block to set off the other neighbors in that block. So the more programs for communities, more mediation, more patient relation aspect, more health initiatives, and mental health, having social workers and psychiatrists dealing with mental health problems are some of the things that we talked about, as well as having the faith-based intercede.
Anybody else anybody else? Thank you very much, Brett. That's huge. I think that deepens the perspective in terms of how we mobilize efforts to heal and to progress, and to also acknowledge truth, even though it might be difficult knowledge. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else will have anything else they want to share before we close for this afternoon?
I can share what happened in room 3.
Thank you so much.
We thought that sort of to build on what was said before, we thought that Anthony at the end of the discussion as a whole group made a really good point that after a certain point, you lose your kids with being a parent and having influence over them. So that base at the beginning has to be really strong if you want to make it through the teenage years. There was discussion about how important the job of being a parent is and how there really is zero training automatically provided for parents. You have to spend 80 hours taking driving lessons in some states to drive a car, and yet you can be a parent with absolutely no help or support whatsoever. One idea was if your child is in a school, for every semester that they get of education, parents should be required to have 10 hours of parent training. There's also concern that with COVID going on, a lot of the former support systems that were in place, and as we continue down this path, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, is there a resource to find help for various situations when people can't leave their homes or we have these limitations set on us now? So that's kind of the stuff we talked about. The other thing that I found surprising in our group is that some folks have had experience with forums with faith leaders trying to encourage them to reach out to folks and families in need, but have actually found a response from faith leaders saying that they're hesitant to do so. They're hesitant to step into the private family space and try to, influence that closely, which was a bit surprising to our team.
Oh my goodness, I believe is Kate, is that your voice I'm listening to?
Yes.
Really, really so glad you did not keep that to yourself. I'm those on the line were able to receive it in such a very deep, impactful way, because the reality of it is though we may think we, praying ourselves through things is a strong resource, it is a limiting resource. And for those that, understand, from a biblical standpoint, it is to be have to be prayerful and watchful simultaneously. So the workmanship and the watchman happens with us. And that's what makes us the vessel to do the work and to lift the heavier. And so I'm glad they shared that. Perhaps that's a challenge for a lot of our faith-based organizations, to take the risk, to be bold and to be courageous, even in the midst of COVID. That means a tap on the door with the mask on, with 6 feet apart, whatever it takes, right? It's just so much work to be done. Thank you all so much for having us today. If you all can just, don't have to your mics. Somebody else wants to say something? I heard someone wanting to share out something, and I don't want to stop it. I just want the last person, someone wants to share something really important. Go ahead and share, please. Thank you again, everybody. If you can repeat after me, say, I am love.
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 I am.
Love.
I
am.
Continue to love on people. Lean into the love. Thank you all for allowing us to have a dramatic day with you. Peace and blessings. And again, thank you also, Mr. Vincent. And thank you, Mrs. Powell, for having us. Peace and blessings.
Dr.
Take
White.
care.
Oh, thank you, Dr. White.
Thank you
That
so
that was
much.
powerful, powerful, powerful. But we have our last speaker, Anthony Fagan from Los Angeles, California. I wish we had more time, but for the time that we do have, I'd like to introduce him and give him an opportunity to speak to you and challenge you to begin to think about things that you can do individually and within your community to prevent violence. Anthony, would you please?
Yes. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Fagan. I'm a member of Second Call, the poster child for Second Call. We are a nonprofit organization based in Los Angeles, California, and we specialize in domestic violence, gang intervention, but more importantly, we specialize with getting individuals who have been to prison, such as myself, into careers. I'm a superintendent, but I started off as a carpenter. I got into the Carpenters Union in 2015 after I did 7 years in prison. And my story is no different from anyone else who went to the streets. I grew up without my father and my mother in the household. My grandma raised me. And as I said earlier, once I got of eye level to my grandmother, it just became hard for her to dish out any type of punishment towards me. And I went to the streets. I was told as a youth that either I was going to become some type of famous athlete, go to college on an athletic scholarship, or I would become a gangbanger. And seeing that becoming the gang member was the easiest thing to do, I went that route. And I did it to perfection. My life, I didn't have any expectancy past the age of 17, 18. I felt as long as I died and was able to be put on a t-shirt by a lot of the people I grew up with, that I had fulfilled my destiny. Somewhere along the lines when I was in jail, I found out that they lied to me, that it was a hoax, and I wanted to break that generational curse from just going to prison and getting out in that revolving door. So when I came home, I was introduced to Second Call, and I started dealing with my own trauma, and I started eliminating people from my life that had anything negative to say or meant me harm, regardless of to who they were. My mother and my father were some of the first people I had to let go, because they didn't understand that I had to deal with my demons first before I can come to the table, the round table, and have a conversation with them and express to them in an intellectual way why I was displeased with them and how they had hurt me and failed me and deceived me. And they weren't ready to have that conversation yet, because they were still on that I'm the parent and I should always be right. But I didn't get the best example for them, nor did they give me an opportunity to explain, like, I'm mad because when I did go to school and I did get grades, you guys never came. You guys never came to a football game. When my best friend at the time got MVP, his whole family was there. All I had was my grandmother there, and at times an occasional aunt. So it was hard for me growing up. Now that I'm a sound mind, body, and soul, I'm able to reach back and show individuals a different light. So now, and I don't resent anyone that didn't know any better. They only taught me what they know at the time. So they only knew the streets. They only knew how to survive. So they taught me that. But now that I know better, I'm focused on getting the individuals in my community to put down the guns and pick up a tape measure. So I specialize in getting them into the electrical union, into the carpenter union, and also the ironworkers union. And they go through that apprenticeship and they journey out and they have gainful employment. They have a pension, and I don't deal with getting someone a job. I look forward to get them careers, and I talk about home ownership, and I talk about life insurance. I talk about all the things that were so foreign to me growing up. Do you guys have any questions for me?
How old were you when you entered the system, and how old are you now?
When I first entered the system, I believe I was first arrested at the age of 12 for just hanging out with a group of individuals. And I am currently 32. I did 7 years in state prison for armed robbery and a police shooting. Deemed the knucklehead of the bunch. Done everything that could have been what you see on TV. I became him. I'm from the area of Slauson and Crenshaw in Los Angeles, which is South Central Los Angeles. The rapper Nipsey. I grew up in that community my whole life. Generations of my family grew up in that community. And now, instead of getting the education and the knowledge and running away, I'm bringing it back to that community so that we can change and we can move forward and become a force to be reckoned with.
How can we change our communities? How can we stop this pandemic of violence?
Giving the youth an alternative. A lot of times I see people just tell them that it's wrong, but don't give them an outlet. I've noticed that within running work and dealing with trades that I have to give them an out. So telling them to put down a gun is the first step, but also telling them, hey, pick up this tape measure, and what you selling drugs to get, you can attain that lifestyle by having a career in these trades. And also by allowing them to sustain a career is dealing with the life skills and dealing with the unresolved trauma that they have suffered from prior years. So it's a process. It's a de-escalation process, and creating a system to where our system is close-knit and tight. And in my organization, we have a emotional free zone and a non-judgment zone. So if you just need to vent and express what's on your heart at the time, you can do that. We meet every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. In the church, in the basement of the church. The pastor allows us to use the church basement, and it's an emotionally free zone. And we have all the suspects down there, meaning the proven risk, not the at risk. So we have to be straightforward and give them the correct knowledge, or it will be something bad going on. But in being authentic and doing it voluntarily without being paid for it, I think that we have such a high success rate because of that, because they know we're genuine. We don't have them down there just because they're part of a zip code. We have them down there because they're ready to leave their old lifestyle behind, and then they want to learn a different way.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from the audience? I wish we had more time to hear more of your story. This has been really informative and helpful to a lot of people. And it's important to see what's happening in other parts of the country and how people are overcoming.
Yes. And to the youth, if you've had a setback, that doesn't have to define you. If you pay attention to the great leaders in the African-American community, I'll touch on Malcolm X and Maya Angelou. Had they died or given up when they were 20 years old, Maya Angelou would have died a prostitute and a single mother. Malcolm X would have died a thief and a pimp and a player and a hustler and all these other things. And somewhere down the line, they took that stand to break the curse that was going on and became those pivotal leaders that we look up to and we study about in school. And they're no different from myself or from you guys that are listening on this call. It's all in your mechanism and when it's your change. My change was I had 2 kids. They're 3 and 6 now. And my goal was for them to, when they get older, not to be on public assistance. So they were born without public assistance. And I'm teaching them about life insurance policies, about IRAs, Roth IRAs, all the things that were foreign to me. And I started late in the game compared to my counterparts that I work with. And it's not that it's not a bad thing. It's just that I wasn't surrounded by anyone that knew any better. But now that I know better, it's my goal to spread the word. So I like to say that I'm a person that's a leader instead of being in charge. Although I am a superintendent, I am charged, but the people in charge just do whatever. As a leader, I'm here to service the people. And is there anything else you want to know, Ms. Diane?
Thank you for sharing your story. It's 4:30. We're going to have to wrap this up. But we appreciate you joining us today and taking the time to chat with us. We'll be calling on you again.
Absolutely, and I'll be right there. Because
Anthony, tell John Harriel hello. Tell John Harriel hello.
I will.
Jen
I will.
Perry,
Stephanie.
yes,
I will
for
see
sure.
him tonight. I would definitely tell him you guys said hello. Thank you guys for having me here. And
All right.
anytime, just give me a shout.
Thank you. And to the audience, please take a moment and fill out the survey. Anthony, would you do it too? There's a survey in our chat box. And please leave comments in the chat box about today's session, suggestion, recommendations, and feedback. And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Great job. Excellent.
You're welcome. Thanks, Dr. Myers.
Absolutely.
I guess we can